Hey, so I thought I'd do a video of me putting the Disana nappy on a baby. I'm not a fan, to be honest, of videos putting it on a bear because it's obviously not as realistic, but I'm going to do a bear one first and then I will do one with my son at some point. So I've just got a basket of all my pre-made nappies there. So I've just picked one out, choosing a sort of heavy wetter nappy. So it's all folded up. So when I'm changing my son's nappy, I just grab one of my nappy packages and unfold it. And I think one of the trickiest things is actually getting it underneath your baby intact, because if they're wiggling, they're kicking it all about the joint, which is quite frustrating sometimes. But once you've got it under there, hopefully a bit of distraction makes all the difference to success. So obviously, as I said, bears aren't ideal, so this bear is not ideal, but it's the best I've got. So the top of your nappy, and I have another video on how to make these nappies packages, needs to be just above the belly button. And then obviously the package you've made has got not too wide a pad to go between the legs, because obviously, you know, the legs are going to be too far spread and that's going to be uncomfortable. But also if it's too narrow, which I've made some with these things that have been like this kind of narrow between the legs, that I find, especially for my boy, is not wide enough to catch everything, and then it's kind of going out the sides of the nappy. So this width seems to be a good width for catching everything but not being too wide for the legs. So we're going to bring the pad that we've made up through the middle, and this jelly folding that you've pre-done on the legs, we're just going to redo it. So we're going to re-jelly fold this around the leg and re-jelly fold this around the other leg and knit those across the belly button. And it doesn't actually look great on this bear, but on my son it creates a nice, so I'm going to redo that because I don't like looking on this bear. Like I said, bears are not ideal candidates. But yeah, it makes a nice little nappy package around my son's bottom to catch, make sure the wees are getting caught, and make sure any poos are getting caught too. So I really like this one. So that's like that, and then we're now going to stretch this as far as we can across the tummy. Try not to push too hard, I find, because my son has got reflux, so I'm quite mindful of that. And then want to bring the front of the nappy up, making sure that it doesn't come higher than our side pieces. If it comes higher, that's when you start having more issues, I find, on the legs. So I tend to hold it with one hand, and then I use the other hand to sweep this under. I don't lift him up because of his reflux. I just pull this side up, pull the tie until this is nice high on here and this is nice and tight, and then we do the same on the other side. We get this and we pull it under, just manipulate that bit back up and then pull that nice and tight, and that stays nice and neat, because you'll find that it can get a bit tricky. And then you can just tie that off here. Fairly tight. You can loosen it once you've tied it. So and just make sure you've got enough fabric above. So I tend to pull this string bit down a little bit. Make sure you've got fabric above. Now the legs, I find, like that, are not ideal, like in terms of restricting movement and also not catching and holding brilliantly. So then I just, from the back, jelly roll that all the way around the front, and then I tuck it under that string, and that creates, look, a much nicer finish around the legs, more movement, and yeah, better at catching, and you end up with this little sort of tuft there, but that's fine. And then same on the other side, start from the back, jelly rolling all the way to the front, tuck under. Might have to do that a couple of times if it, you know, is still a bit baggy, like this is actually. So then just go back over that, make sure you're gathering all the loose fabric, pull it through and over that string. And I'm just going to grab a cover. I'm using the Engel, that's how you say it, covers, because we are in Western Australia. It is 43 degrees Celsius here today. So yes, for daytime, I don't want the hefty Disana ones, but we do still use those at night time. And then cover goes up like that, making sure that it's fully covered all the way around. And on the legs, I find it can be a bit gappy here, but I don't find that to be an issue as long as it's sort of firm against. And then I just make sure that it's well covered and firm against on the back of the legs. And that tends to be perfect. I find that with the nappy packages, on the sort of a night nappy, or the more padding you have in a nappy, the less you fold it down at the back here. And then the less padding you have in a nappy, the more you need to fold it down at the back here to make sure that you've got that it all comes together correctly. Because if you've got too much in and you folded it down too much, then you can't make both ends meet. So it's a bit of trial and error with getting that right. And yes, the other thing I find useful, which kind of actually relates more to the making of the nappies, is to actually hang them on the washing line in the shape that you want everything to be. So I hang the nappies over my clothes dryer outside on the line I want them to fold on. So they hang on this line. That's literally that line there, that fold, that crease is created by the clothes dryer area. So I hang it like that, and then when I'm making my nappies, everything's already got the perfect creases in it, and it makes actually for a much slimmer package than if you're fighting. See, look how slim that is. But if I hadn't have hung that on the washing line and created that nice beautiful crease, I'd be fighting with this piece of fabric, and it would be a lot more bulky then. Same with the muslin squares, which I haven't got one to show you, but because it's muslin, it dries really quickly, so I basically fold the whole muslin in half like that and hang it on the clothes horse outside. And then it's still, we're in WA, Western Australia, it dries super quick. So yeah, that's the tip about making the nappies, but yes, hopefully that's a good video on how to put it on there, but I will make another one on putting it on my son. Taking off, I always take off the cover and I hang that inside out so it can dry. I obviously undo the bow and get those strings down here, and then I tie them in double knot here, and they go straight in the washing machine, just like that. I don't put them in bags, and I find that knot there is perfect for them not getting tangled and is easy enough undo when I'm coming to have a washing out. I don't have any issue undoing that notch. So yeah, that's it. Anything else? Any other tips that you guys can share? I'd love to hear, because I am on such a steep learning curve with this, and I'm enjoying learning how to do this most efficiently. So, love to hear from you.